I once ridiculed this phone for being boring, for lacking character and generally making no real leaps on where its predecessor was. But over a year down the line, the landscape has changed somewhat, and to a point now where this doesn't only look like a fantastic deal on paper, but I think for the money, there really is nothing that comes close to it. And that's worth celebrating. By the way guys, really trying to hit 150k by the end of the year, so if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, really help me out. Thank you very much. If you want an exceptional camera suite in both software and hardware, you want an eye-watering flat display with anti-glare, you want high-end performance specifications, a big canvas for activity, good battery life and decent charging, you want software that will continue to evolve for years, all for around the price of a Pixel 9a, that's what this video is all about. This is the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, and it's a device that I tentatively have been keeping my eye on since its release. Since I was such a big fan of, and I still am, of the S23 Ultra over a couple of years after its release now. That phone was able to bring so much to the table, and depreciation hit it like a truck. Seriously, you can get those things for under £400 now. That's ridiculous value for money. But this phone, the S24 Ultra, fixes and improves some of the concerns that many had with the S23 Ultra, my favourite smartphone of recent, and Samsung seems like it's on a mission to continue improving even long after releasing its successor, the S25 Ultra. It's a big phone with a lot of features. It's followed the Galaxy Note formula despite lacking its namesake, so those who want a built-in stylus really only have a couple of models to choose from, and they all come from the same product family. It's one of the most unique features of this phone. And though I'm sure it's not for everyone, those who need to sign documents and want to draw up plans for stuff, this is fantastic for those people. I for a time did daily a Galaxy Note. The best thing about that was being able to sign documents with it. What also might not be for everyone is the fact that this phone is absolutely massive. It's a big old thing, it's got sharp corners, it's got a flat front and back. And I do prefer the shape of this to the S25 Ultra, which has completely flat sides, but I understand that I am in the minority with that particular opinion. Needless to say that this phone is also very thick and very heavy, so a real beast of a device. This is not the sort of phone I'd want to run with me in my pocket. Though saying that, taking pictures, one of my favourite activities ever, is something that I do when I run, and having this camera suite in my pocket would certainly be nice to have. It's not the ginormous suite of sensors that you'd expect from any kind of Chinese ultra class phone, but what we have there between the pretty big main sensor, pretty decent ultra wide and good telephoto setups is versatility, and Samsung has actually made changes post launch that greatly help the camera experience in my opinion. I'm still not the biggest fan of the stock out of the box colour science here, and though I do like it, I do think that Oppo and its derivatives do a better job with the Hasselblad branded colours. But what I am a big fan of is what Samsung has done with the S24 Ultra's camera app that lets you play around with far more features and has made those very accessible. Like, it now has its own version of photographic styles from the iPhone where you can mess around with the different colours, the tones and that kind of thing, but you don't have to go nuts with it. There are plenty of default options, you can adjust them, and I do like the fact that you can select between them so quickly and then just revert back to stock when you need to. And it's great that it saves it all in the app, so you don't have to every time go in and change it. You also have the option to shoot RAW and edit down the line, and honestly recently I've seen so many people take insane photos with Samsung phones in RAW and then use their creativity to be able to edit them better down the line. I also like how Samsung brought over its video log recording and Pro Video Assist tools from the S25 Ultra, so you can actually get all of that now in the S24 model. It breathes new life into these slightly older models. The video quality was always pretty good, but now you have the flexibility to really make pro level art with this stuff. In general, I think most people will be absolutely blown away by the image quality out of all of the cameras on this thing. Just 6 months ago it was one of the best that you could buy, and well, there haven't been that many improvements to the newer models, so you're still getting a flagship level camera experience out of a phone like this. You're not going to feel hard done by taking your photos and videos on a 18-month-old Samsung Ultra. I know I tend to poke fun at these more popular flagship smartphones that don't have the 1-inch sensors or the 1/1.4-inch telephotos. I think ultimately we should be getting that kind of hardware for £1,000 or whatever, however much you want to spend. And that isn't to say that these are bad camera setups, because they really are not. If you're a keen shutterbug and you do want to get the most out of your smartphone, then the big 200 megapixel sensor here shooting RAW is a fantastic combination. And it's a great base to learn and master photo editing, something that I hope to do a bit more of in the second half of 2025. And you know what? Hearing someone say they're using a year-old Samsung Ultra on paper almost downplays how good this phone is. Like, when you pick it up, you use it, you make it your own, you get comfy in it. It's a really properly luxurious phone. The anti-glare coating on a totally flat display is something many will probably overlook on a spec sheet, but in person when you actually use it, it's a great topper to what is an outstanding display. Not only from an image quality and sharpness standpoint when you're playing games, watching video content, that kind of thing, but also just from a practicality one when you're out in harsh light. It's far easier to see than most other panels. And it's especially bright when you put it in auto mode, which I've noticed has bumped the brightness up a little bit more than manual with extra brightness toggled on, so keep that in mind. It also makes this phone great for playing games. If you're into emulation as well, the 8 Gen 3 chip is very powerful, so more than capable enough to run a whole suite of other older consoles. And for home streamers, Steam and PlayStation's implementations work great on this big display too. I unfortunately don't have one of those backbone controller pads here, but you can connect a PlayStation or an Xbox controller to this thing and get some proper gaming done. And One UI 8 is just around the corner as well. This should in theory get Android 21, which is wild. But right now it has One UI 7 on it, and we are going to be getting One UI 8. And though the One UI 7 rollout was a little bit of a nightmare, let's be honest, what we have now looks and feels great, and it looks like One UI 8 will actually polish it further to give you a much more complete experience than what we had a few short months ago. There's scope for a whole lot more coming down the line with that many software updates coming as well, and given we already saw all those camera improvements come to the S24 Ultra, well, whatever next, there might be loads to come. And at the very worst, you will still get compatibility in a few years' time. There are tons of usability benefits going with this phone as well, like the battery life, which is not exceptional, but it is still very good. It charges faster than Pixels and iPhones as well, even if it can't quite reach the speeds of anything coming out of China. The performance is fantastic for doom scrolling, multitasking, using the S Pen and so on. You still get an IP68 rating, Wi-Fi 7, the ultrasonic in-display fingerprint scanner is very good, the camera rings on the back aren't nearly as cumbersome as the huge camera bumps that we've seen out of its competitors, and the flat front panel means that if you do want to put a screen protector on it, that's not going to be a problem, though I will say it does counteract the stunning anti-glare coating, so just be wary of that. My main gripes with it would be the harsh edges which can dig into your hand, the fact it's absolutely massive, and generally I try to avoid those kinds of phones. And I would say the charging could really do with being a bit faster, but then that's coming from someone who uses a OnePlus phone with 100-watt fast charging, so take that particular viewpoint with a pinch of salt. I'm not coming from an iPhone or a Pixel, which I know a lot of people will be. And you have to remember that because of the great smartphone hardware plateau, this is not a majorly worse phone than the latest devices from Samsung, Apple and Google. Like, in some areas, it's actually better than those. That's wild. But it also makes this phone, that costs less than half the amount of a brand new S25 Ultra, an absolute steal, and one that I'd happily recommend to those looking for a beast of a phone for less money. The Galaxy S24 Ultra is a phone I didn't love at launch, but it has since found its way into my recommendations list thanks to major depreciation and a simultaneously expanding features list. It's an oxymoron of a device, but one that only benefits consumers.